Hey, this is Jonathan, and oh, hello. Hello, line. What are you doing? Later. Go away. I don't have time for you right now. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna be working on Mini-rando again as usual, because that's what I do, and I just really enjoy working on this project. It's fun. Oh, hello. Probably something I should actually download or install, but I won't do that right now. I have plans. Yeesh. Everything's just trying to bother me today, isn't it? But yeah, anyway, last time, I actually don't remember what I was doing last time. It's been a day. That was a gap day, because I was really tired, and yeah, we just you know, the usual. So, what was I doing last time? Now that I'm thinking about that, I need to actually try and figure that out now. Oh yeah, I did this refactor that I think I ended up deciding I didn't want to do. I didn't want to commit to that refactor, because I realized that this is this is a good optimization if I want to do more things in this method in handle event, but actually I don't think that's what I want to do, because I poked around at the documentation and stuff, and well, I didn't really find any definitive answers or anything. I figured that it's probably better to have a separate system for handling user input, and this handle event should mostly be used strictly for handling transitions. I mean, considering its signature and everything. And I think that is actually quite fair. I mean, if you look at the Pong example, they handle all their user input through a separate system. Like, it was like paddle.rs or something, or move paddle. So that's pretty much what I have decided on. That does also mean that I'm going to have to change a lot of stuff again to go back to what I was using before, and that's a little bit annoying, but it was all for the sake of exploration. It was entirely exploratory, and I will gladly change it back if that works better. So yeah, let's go back to passing in the world. And I think it was... what else did I pass in? Was I passing in the target? Or was I passing in... because I know that the target is important for something, but I can't remember what. I think I was passing in the entity or the event. It was probably the event, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, it was probably the event. So this should also go back in there, shouldn't it? Or, well, I probably don't need to do that. I can just do this. Yeah. As long as I get the entity, then we're good. And so the entity will be... oh. I guess it'd be ev.target, but I don't need that. We're gonna bring that back out here and pass it in here. World and ev.target. That should be it. Then I can get rid of all this, and then I can get rid of all this. And I think that is sufficient. Let's just run that real quick to make sure that we aren't crazy. I mean, I know I'm crazy already, but you know. Just to make sure that we're not crazier than we already are. And this shouldn't take very long, honestly. Oh, error? Error? Really? Oh, because there's a semicolon there. Of course. That would be bad. This should work. So we'll consider it a code smell if we need to actually like reach in here and get another thing. Thing? I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Thing. Yes. I click start game and it says play. Okay, good. Yeah, that's what I was expecting. Cool. So now that we have that taken care of, let's actually implement our own custom game input handling system. So no, I didn't do any research. I didn't look up how seeds work, or like how yeah, at least in like other games. I realized something else that is also important though. For a game like this, I think you'd want to share more than just seeds, because if you think about it, in the original for a regular randomizer, or like a Link to the Past randomizer, let's just say, you can enter in the seeds, I believe, and you can like generate a seed for like a given game mode. But if you want to like share all the settings and everything, then you have to like make sure that all the settings are set the exact same way, right? And this is fine for things like from our standardized modes, like I don't know, standard, open, entrance, cross-world, key sanity, you know, or randomizer, things like that, I guess. I don't know. There's a bit of variation in each of those, but usually there's some general set rules for each of these. And there can be a lot of different bells and whistles, so trying to ensure that everybody's playing on the same seed and they're all, you know, using the exact same rule set is kind of difficult unless you can enforce it. I mean, most people are not going to be stupid enough to, you know, play a completely different seed, but okay, I shouldn't say that. It can happen on accident. I have seen it happen to some runners before, and it's unfortunate when it does. But yeah, if you could somehow transfer your game rules, your game setup with the seed, somehow like package it all up, I think that would actually be more helpful. Because some elements are not going to be affected by randomization, of course. Those elements aren't going to be included in the seed. Like, it's not that you don't get those options for free. Just when someone gives you a seed, you have to set them yourself. So I have been considering maybe having like a special file format or something that allows you to serialize all your options with the seed and then send that off, and then someone can load it. It'll load all the settings with the seed combined with it, and that's how you would like share the same seed with someone else and make sure that they're also playing the same game. So like in a race, I would imagine that might be how it would work, although if we're doing a client server setup, then that would have to be enforced by the server itself. So yeah, it probably wouldn't work quite that way. Yeah, there's a lot of things to consider. I've also been thinking about things like, what if there's a level editor? You know, like what kind of limitations should there be on the level editor? Like how large should the game world be, or how much should we allow people to create? And yeah, there's a lot of really interesting considerations here. The main reason why I was actually thinking about these things is actually because of something that came out recently. I think it's called multiworld. It's not from the Link to the Past randomizer. It's actually a ZOOTR thing. ZOOTR meaning Zelda Ocarina of Time randomizer, if people don't know. So in the ZOOTR randomizer, you're allowed to have this special multiplayer co-op game mode where everybody gets a different seed, but items are scattered throughout other players' worlds, essentially. So if someone picks up an item for you, they don't get that item, but you will get that item. And somehow they are actually able to have the logic, the almighty logic that, you know, we see in every single randomizer. It's able to determine like how, if the game can be beaten still with this extra constraint that, oh yeah, other players, if they find the item, you know, then give it to that other player. And yeah, like I feel like the logic for that would be a lot more complicated, but they seem to have something there that works. So I'm pretty interested in knowing how that is implemented. Yeah, it definitely seems really cool, and it's something that I've also given some consideration now. Obviously not something I want to implement for Mini-rando. That seems out of scope for this project, but definitely something that I think is super cool and encourages people to, you know, like play together more. But I find that there's not enough good co-op games out there, you know? Like, there's a lot of competitive games out there, like competitive team games, I guess. So those, I guess you could say those are co-op, but usually that's like players, like a team of players versus another team of players. Whereas there isn't a whole lot of just, oh, a bunch of players trying to work together against, you know, the game. I mean, I guess you could say, what about like Left 4 Dead and stuff? But I mean, I'm saying there's just not enough. There's not enough of these kinds of games. So, and plus, this is the kind of thing that that I feel works better because of, you know, the random nature of randomizer, because you get different seeds every time, right? So it definitely will put more of an emphasis on cooperative play than just the linked inventories type of co-op that we've seen so far with A Link to the Past. So yeah, I definitely like this foray into more cooperative game modes and all that, but yeah, of course, the way that it's all implemented is still just like a bunch of hacks, and still super not really, well, I'd say it's like in a very legal gray area. So yeah, it's cool things happening in the world of rando. I don't know, I just kind of went off on a tangent and wanted to talk about that because I just thought that was super cool. Like, you don't really often, I guess, think about how much potential randomizer has until you see the really cool ideas like this. And it's fun to see such creative ideas when you don't really see this kind of innovation happening in other genres as much, I would say. I don't know, just my random thoughts. No pun intended. So, what I was thinking of doing with this custom game state is we're gonna have a whole lot of buttons. There's gonna be a whole lot of different options. Probably not all in this state. For now, I think I'm probably gonna stick to your standard item randomizer. That's incredibly simple, and I still think that the item randomizer itself is just, it's the most fun randomizer. That's kind of like the core of rando. You know, like you can have other game modes like entrance randomizer and whatnot, but if you don't randomize the items as well, it just isn't as fun. So yeah, like I feel like you pretty much always want to randomize the items no matter what. Like the item randomizer isn't just, you know, an option. Item randomizer is like the entire game. It's item randomizer plus other things like entrance randomizer or inverted or, you know, enemizer. You don't just pick randomizer and nothing else usually, or at least, well, I think that's how the game is, typically played. So I think for the most part it'll be a given in any games that I create that items will always be randomized, if possible. I don't know if I would ever add a game mode where you wouldn't have items randomized in some way. So yeah, enough tangents. Let's try and actually implement this system. So I probably should base it off of this old commit that I had before. This UI event handler system. I'm going to say probably should organize all of my states into their own folders, maybe? Because I'm going to have different systems, like one system per RS file. And that's how I'm going to organize my systems for each state. It's just a way of keeping everything together. It might not be the best way of subdividing everything, because I know some people have like an entire systems folder and that's it. They just put systems in it, but I like to think that I should have a different folder for each state, and each all the systems for that state will go with that state, obviously, because doesn't that just make sense? I think it makes sense. So first of all, I want to start with, I guess, custom game.rs. No, wait, not .rs. I just want to make a package. And I'm going to put U in there. So now that that's in there, I probably need another mod.rs file. I think that would make sense. Because, yeah, now we don't have pubmod custom game anymore. So with this like super nested structure, I'm gonna have to try and figure out how all of this is going to work. So I do have to declare like mod randomizer mod states, so that still has to happen. I'm wondering what I have to do for this, since this is a level below. So states is a sister of main.rs. Custom game would be like a sister to mod.rs. So I think I need to add like a mod custom game in here, in this mod.rs, and have another mod.rs down here. And I know that's a lot of module files, but I feel like this is necessary. This is how you're supposed to use the module system. Okay, maybe not entirely how you're supposed to use it, but this is the general pattern. I know that there's new syntax for modules now, and I am not entirely happy with all these changes, because I'm just like trying to keep up. I'm scrambling to keep up, but it's really hard. Like, I'll get there eventually, but I'm sure that they're gonna force everyone to switch after they do the next Rust edition, so that'll be interesting. I already forgot how this works. I think I have to put a mod in that mod. Does that make sense? Because this was pointing at custom game, and then and button trans was on the same level, but it was just a RS file. So yes, I think that is what I need to do. Wow, so many mod.rs files. I'm losing it. So yeah, custom game will have its own module custom game, which points to this guy. And I also have modules for each of the systems that I add. And there we go, that's kind of how I want to organize it. Now, main menu was pointing at custom game, so I'm going to have to probably do something like custom game, then get the custom game out of that. Probably not the best naming scheme, but that's what I'm going with. And I'll probably do the same for main menu at some point, but it's not important. We're going to stick to this. And instead of adding stuff down here like I was about to do, I'm going to add a new Rust file here. Let's just call this one, I don't know, input? Or maybe like button presses? No, let's just call it input, because we're not necessarily going to be limited to button presses. We might want the user to type things like, I don't know, type in a seed, or like type in a code that will allow you to download a seed from someone else. I don't know. Seed plus options, I mean. I definitely will have to take that kind of stuff into consideration for this game, because it certainly would be one of the key features in allowing people to like race, I guess, without supporting like online multiplayer. Because I mean, if you think about it, in most randomizers, you're not actually playing the game online. You're not actually like connected to any server. There's no like anti-cheat or anything like that. People will peek at the actual ROM file and try and figure out what has been randomized. So, oh well, I mean, I shouldn't say that, because that's basically accusing people of cheating. But I mean, there's nothing to really stop anyone from looking, you know? So, yeah. What is going on? Why is this complaining? Eh? You can't reach button trans? Why is that? Oh, because that's super duper. No, it's on the, yeah, it's the next level up. It's 2 levels up now. Super. Yeah, this is gonna get interesting, isn't it? I'm not really sure if I've organized my files in the best way. I'm starting to think no. But I don't really know what would be better. I could do the whole every system goes in a systems file or folder, but I just don't really like that. Because like, what if you want to use one system for... I mean, I guess you could technically reuse systems from one thing to another, but then no. Then I'd want to have like a common directory or something to hold those if I want to share certain systems between different states, right? Like that. I feel like that makes a lot more sense. So no, I'm not going to do anything wacky or crazy right now. Well, I am, but not that kind of crazy. You can tell that I'm very, very tired. What am I doing? I don't know. I'm just like, yeah, I'm doing things without thinking. I should not do that. I guess what might be nice in this case is multiple monitors, you know? Just so I can actually see what I'm trying to do without having to like flip back and forth. Except I don't really like this UI event handler system. Although it does describe it pretty well. Because I'm calling it input.rs. Input handler system? Maybe. I don't know, that seems less descriptive than this. Right, reader ID is none. This is something that I think is a little bit interesting. Because we have to set this to some value, because initially it's none. And I mean, that's fairly normal in most cases, but I have to wonder if there isn't a more, like, I guess, functional way of doing it, more pure way of setting it. I don't know, it's just a thought. I'm going to get system from Amethyst, so I'll just use Amethyst. I still don't know how the new, like, I think you can put, like, self here now, like, I don't know. So much change around, like, the module system. For the longest time, it felt like it was pretty stable, and then people decided, oh, nope, we don't like it. We're going to change it. And sometimes I worry that they're just going to keep changing stuff until eventually we just have a big old mess. But that day hasn't come yet. So, just going to keep chugging along until everything goes down in flames. So where does system come from? Maybe it... oh no, ECS prelude. Interesting. Sure. Works for me. And now I can go to sleep forever. No. I am really sleepy though. Implement... yeah, gotta give it a lifetime. Yeah, type system data. I'm making an effort not to copy and paste so much. It's not a good habit. So here's where things kind of, yeah, I can use an event channel, which holds a, was a UI event? Or, yeah, UI event. And we know where that comes from. That comes from, well, event channel comes from somewhere else entirely. I forgot. Shrev. Yeah, okay, Shrev. The UI event comes from UI. That should be pretty obvious. Right? Yeah. UI creator? Do I want UI creator? I don't think so. I don't think I need that. Yeah, so then we have to implement run. Which makes sense. Now, does run actually return anything? No. Well, it returns the unit, of course, but... it's almost like void in other languages. What did I do? I forgot already. So I need mutable events, okay. Alright, so the first thing we have to do is set the reader ID. I did a little bit of reading on what an event channel is, and it seems like it's... they make a lot of mention of some kind of like ring buffer, and that's important apparently. Oh, I need a semicolon for that? I didn't know that. I guess all use statements require that. Yeah, okay. I think that makes sense, right? In this case, does semicolon mean return unit? Because usually it does. Like, semicolons usually have a meaning in Rust. But when you have at the end of like a use statement like this? I don't know. Because you're not really in the scope of a function or anything. So returning unit doesn't really make sense. Or is this just a delimiter? It is interesting, though, that it might be a little bit different semantically from typical usages of semicolon in this language. It is what it is, though. Run must have a body. I mean, it does have a body. It's right here. And yeah, we do this if self.readerID is none, then we set it to something. I mean, it makes sense, I think. I just wonder if there isn't some way of, I don't know, setting it at the end, or it's probably not worth trying to think about that for now. I can always refactor later if I have to. Why did it not? Oh, right, because yes, that's not the syntax that we use in this language. Ugh, I'm so bad at this. Reader ID is none. Yeah. I don't tend to think of using is none and is some very often. Usually because you just use a pattern match and, you know, write things in a more functional way, but you know, we have to cache the reader ID somehow in this case. So I feel like that's what they're doing here. What do they set it to? They set it to a sum. They create a new reader ID, but I don't remember what that reader ID even is. Events.register reader, yeah. I really don't understand what this is all for, but apparently it's important for the ring buffer that is supposedly used. I don't know. Well, did I seriously do that? That's, no wonder it had that red underline. I was like, what is it doing? Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Don't be doing silly things. The main thing I want to be able to eliminate from this code, actually, is this unwrap. This unwrap is gross and scary. Because the moment you take away this code, this is a panic, right? Or if you put in like a bunch of other code in here, and at some point something happens to self.isReader, right? Then if it ends up, you know, unwrapping on that and it panics, then right? Like, that's the thing. Like, to me, unwrap is the danger of unwrap is not necessarily like when you use it to begin with, because when you first add it to the code, it's like, yeah, you understand that, yeah, it has to be set because of this, so therefore it always will be safe to unwrap here. The real danger comes from what happens when you come back to change this code later and you don't notice, right? Like, that's the real danger of unwrap, in my opinion. Now, arguably, you won't have like so much code in here or so much noise that you forget about this unwrap and you don't see the value being modified or anything. But yeah, it's just, if you never use like a raw call to unwrap, like unwrap underscore or and unwrap or else are usually better options. Those are still perfectly fine, I think, but just raw unwrap, very very dangerous. Says the guy who throws in panics in his code. Like I'm one to talk. But I mean, like the whole point of having a sum and none really is just to, you know, avoid the whole null reference exception issue. So, okay, let's do that. Self.reader ID as mute.unwrap. Yeah, I'd say let's make sure to remove that unwrap someday in the future, because yeah, I'm never comfortable with unwraps in my code at all. It's almost always a good way to rewrite the code such that you don't need to unwrap. Pretty much. Like, you can always use map instead or something. There's better options, don't do it. Yeah, so for each event in these events, that's right. So what I remembered is that we have event.target. The UI event does have a target tied to it, I believe. Or at least its transform should. Is that, what did we do before? I'm pretty sure, yeah, this was a UI event. Oh yeah, we have to get the UI. Oh yeah, event type exists. That too. Remember, in this one, we just printed the event, the UI event. I'm pretty sure though that ev.target exists. And this is an entity, as we know, and then we need to get the storage, and then we can actually do stuff with it. So where are button translate? Oh yeah, this is the editor that auto closes stuff. I forgot about that. Unless you like increase the tab limit, which I don't really care to, because I like having not too many things open. It's kind of a weird preference considering how much I like to just leave tabs open like this, but I don't know, if it's automatic closing stuff for me that I don't really use that much, then I'm usually pretty okay with that. It just means I have to go and fetch it again later, which is maybe not so nice, but it's like, what can you do? Oh, wait, but if I need the storage, how do I get the storage? I have to get it from the world, don't I? But wait, this stuff comes from the world too, doesn't it? Because those are resources? Yeah, because world.read resource is a thing. Or read storage. So I think that we can actually get a UI transform here. Or at least a storage for it. Okay, yeah, that could be possible. Huh. Yeah, so this is one of the issues that I wasn't entirely sure of. But it could work. Well, I don't know if I need a write. It's probably just a read is fine. But yeah, this is kind of interesting. It's likely going to be a UI transform. Let's see how that goes. And we're probably going to need to destructure this tuple. So this should, in theory, be okay. Now, the transform... Oh wait, don't we want to transform storage? I think we want to transform storage, but how would I get that? I'm not sure if that's even really doable. Let's go check the Pong example again, because I'm curious. Or that UI example? I don't know. Yeah, you know what? There's plenty of examples. One of them has to have something useful in it. Let's go check out Pong. Not the resources, but the systems. I want to look at your systems. Because it'll definitely be using all like writes and reads and whatnot. Let's try this one. Read storage. We can probably use a read storage UI transform? Does that make sense? What does the book say? I already forgot. Okay, maybe that's not that helpful. Component storage is a resource. The components are attached to entities, as previously. They're not owned by entities at the implementation level. Storing them into storages and having storages to be placed inside resources. Yeah. If you try to fetch the component directly, you'll not get the storage. You'll get a default. To get the storage resource that holds all, you need to fetch read storage. Yeah. I figured it out. I used my brain and I deduced that this is what I want, probably. But maybe not. Balls. So this is a storage? Huh. Well, it says it's a storage, so I might as well just kind of go with the flow, right? So, input, read, storage. So now I have a read storage for the transforms. Let's call it transforms to be more accurate. And we're just going to do the thing that I did earlier, right? Like, doesn't that make sense? Get target. Well, I guess the problem is I don't really have a target right now where I'm currently writing this. But now I do. So this will tell me what is being clicked, or what is, you know, being interacted with. At least it should in theory. Yeah, it gives me an option. Sum, and then button. Yeah, then we get the ID. Okay. Yeah, I'm okay with that. How does this... I guess every element, every UI element must have an ID then, huh? They'll have identifiers. Fascinating. So if I'm not mistaken, this is going to fire when I click on other buttons as well. That's really... Huh. Because if I click on a different button, or like not something that isn't even a button, if it's just a UI event, right? It'll just look for the UI transform and it'll do this. So that's kind of interesting. Things to keep in mind when you're using this sort of frameworky type of thing. It's not necessarily going to be a button. So the assumption is perhaps too strong. Or, well, I don't know. Maybe it's not. We can't really make that assumption that it's a button, but we're going to try and assume that it is because I don't support anything other than buttons right now. Like, where else would you get a UI event from? Maybe hovering over like a text box or clicking on a text box. That could be it. But yeah, I don't know. Probably in the else case, we're not going to do anything. Now I think about it, we'll probably only care about this case. So if we get a button, then we're going to do what we did in button trans, right? We delegate to that method. No. Well, maybe. We're going to get the ID of the button. Or element. Whatever the thing is. I probably do want to do something similar to this. Well, the logic will be a little bit more complex. So, not quite this, but something a little bit different. Huh. Right, we immutably borrow self. That's very interesting. I don't know if I'll be allowed to do this self on the inside, although they do it here, so it seems like it's okay. Yeah. Seems like that's fine. Now, if I defined this function to take a reference to self, like an immutable reference, I don't know if that would be okay, because it's immutably borrowed in this scope. So that is something to be aware of. But I feel like this is an immutable borrow when it does self.readerID. So it might actually be safe to do that, at which point I'm not really sure how the borrow checker works. Or at least I've forgotten something about it. Or maybe I'm just really sleepy. Yeah, if we get the ID from the button as a string and we pass it to this function, this mystery function, we'll be able to, you know, do stuff with it. Handle click, I guess. I don't know. Actually, we don't even know if it's a click yet, do we? We don't even know what the event is. We're just going right in here. Don't care what this event is. Yeah, because here at least I check first if it's a click stop, but no, I'm not even doing that until later. So it's a very backwards way of thinking, I guess. Alright, we're going to take an immutable reference to self first, just to try it. And then we're going to also take the string. No, we're going to call it the element ID. Okay, fine. We're calling it a button ID because, you know, it says handle click. Although we don't know if it's a click. Handle event. I don't know. This seems almost backwards, doesn't it? I'm calling handle event, but the other one, handle event, calls you. It seems like a bad idea. I'm bound to confuse myself, I'm sure. Yeah, I definitely don't know about this. Does it make sense to get the element first, like the actual button, and then check the event? I'm starting to wonder. Maybe checking the event should be secondary, after all. I guess it just depends on, like, what do you care about more first? do you care about what event is happening and then figuring out what was clicked, or do you think it's better to figure out what was interacted with first before figuring out what kind of event? I think it makes more sense actually to figure out what was interacted with, right? Because then that might determine whether or not you even bother to check if it was a click or not. Because you might not even care if someone clicked on the element, right? Like, you don't care if it's a mouse click for a certain element. Well, yeah, if it's not one of the elements that you care about at all, then why even bother checking what the event was? I think that actually makes a lot more sense. Like, from an efficiency perspective. So I think this is actually the way to go, and what I have in here might actually be less efficient, because you might want to check what was clicked, and if it doesn't match anything here, then we know to just do a trans none. We don't care about whether or not it was a quick stop or whatever. So yeah, just perhaps a tiny micro optimization, but I mean, this is Rust. Isn't it all about those kinds of optimizations? I mean, there's a reason this is not a garbage collected language, right? So anyhow, I'm gonna do the thing that I've done before, sort of ish, by matching on the button ID, looking for a certain button. But that button's gonna be a very different button. It's gonna be a special button. It's gonna be where to go? I don't have it open, of course. It's never open when you want it to be open. That's what happens when you don't increase the tab limit. Generate seed button is what I care about. And we don't care about any other buttons at all. There's nothing to care about. And this function doesn't actually have to return anything. It's not a pure function, because we don't have transitions. We can just do unit. I think that's fine. Alright, so we know now that it's a generate seed button that was interacted with. And now I'm even less sure about this. Let's just call it elem for element. I'm gonna call this one handle event. So now I think we also want the element itself, don't we? Maybe it wasn't such a smart idea to just pass in this. It might have been better to just handle the element. But what is this? What is the type of the element? elem.id. I think it's actually a transform, right? Because we were getting a transform. Yeah, this would be a transform. So maybe instead of elem we should just call it transform. Or it's more descriptive of what this actually is. And maybe instead of getting a button ID we just take a transform. Maybe a reference to a transform. I don't know. Do we care if we consume it? We probably do. We probably don't want to consume the transform that's owned by some other object. So we're going to borrow this transform. Like a good boy. Also, we need transform from wherever you get transform from. Not that. That's a different transform entirely. Wait, is that right? No, wait, that is right, isn't it? It's a UI transform. It's not just a transform, it's a UI transform. My bad. It's not your average transform. I don't know where I was going with that one. So take UI transform and we'll do a transform dot ID dot as string, I guess. Because that's what I was doing here. So if we get a generate seed button, now we're going to match on the input type. So we want transform dot... Oh wait, but we need the event. The event itself is what we care about. So I also need the event. That's right. It's not good enough to just take this. We need the... It's probably a UI event, isn't it? Yes. So we know that it's called event type from here, our other place where we did a thing. This one, yeah. So we need to get a UI event type. Click stop. Once again, I'm copying and pasting my own code. It's usually not a very good sign. But I'm lazy. Like a good function. Only the best functions are lazy. Okay, that's not always true. Don't be too lazy. Sometimes a little bit of laziness is good though. Alright. This is entirely pointless, isn't it? Yeah, because we already know now that this is a generate seed button that was interacted with. And now if we know that it was clicked, and then you gotta click stop, then we should create a new seed, right? Well, I actually don't know how to create a new seed right now because I need to somehow generate a seed, store it somewhere, and then I guess, you know, get it when I need it for the RNG later, and I don't really know how that would work. So for now we're just going to do a print line. Yeah, I know, it's a cop-out. It's not really a real solution at all, but... For now, that's what I'm going to do. I haven't thought far enough ahead. I haven't... so this is kind of like a to-do. We need to figure out what needs to go here. But for now, this is okay. So the UI event handler system. Now, who will fire off the UI event handler system? This is another question that needs to be answered. That is kind of tricky, actually, now that I think about it, because I don't really know who will fire this off. So now we're going to go beyond the polling example. We're going to go back to the UI example. We're going to see what they'd use. So... yeah, they break this out into functions, that's fine. And yeah, I don't need to use self at all. I'm passing it in because, I don't know. Because I felt like it. The chair is super creaky, as usual. where do they add the systems? Here they do. Here it is. So yeah, they have a UI event handler system that gets added here. I'm not really sure how it execute certain systems or register certain systems only with certain like states. That seems like it would be kind of difficult to do. Also, stop copying and pasting. Oh gosh, where was it? Game data. Game data. I don't have... Oh wait, no, I do have game data right here. Yeah, okay. I understand now. I'll just do with bundle. Or is it with system? I don't know. It is with... No, it's just with. With. Yeah, this builder pattern is a nice way of doing optional parameters. Someone did a blog post recently about how to handle optional parameters in Rust. Like, in a language that doesn't support things like variadic functions, and yeah, this is some of the suggestions that people said was this is one of the best things that you didn't write in your blog post, and it does seem pretty elegant. At least for the most part. I think it's a pretty reasonable solution. So with UI event handler system new. Wait, what? You can call new on that? It has a constructor? Oh yeah, right. We implement a thing. Implement system, so that must be part of system. At least I think it is. It should be, right? They didn't implement a new, as far as I know. Yeah, it's right down here. So if they didn't implement it down here, oh, they did, and I did too. Oh my god. What am I doing? How did I not notice this? I'm not thinking. I'm not even thinking anymore. Yeah, look at this. It's right here. I didn't even realize I had done this. I am ashamed. That is just shameful. UI event handler. I don't know what that's for. I wish I knew. But, eh. They give it like an empty slice or something? Is that what I'm seeing? Sure is. Alright. And this doesn't need a question mark, does it? No, it doesn't. UI event handler system comes from... this probably comes from states, custom game, custom game, custom game, custom game, custom game, custom game, custom game. No, we didn't make it. Oh wait, what am I doing? That's not even the right place to be. For food and fun and family. So we gotta go to main. We gotta get rid of this because that's bad. We gotta go to input. Can I get the autocomplete? Yeah. Wait, is that not a public? I didn't. Oh shoot, I'm bad. I'm just bad. I'm just so bad. Don't even know what I'm doing. Just bad. There we go. There we go. Get that guy in here. Yitter done. Yeah, this red squiggly thing should go away. No? Nope. Okay, it did go away. Never mind. So now we're fine, I guess. If you want to put it that way. I registered this system, but I'd ideally like to only run it for that other state. So that's something that we're gonna have to work on next time, I think. Try and figure out how to run specific systems for specific states. And I remember this was actually a limitation of Amethyst before. Like, you couldn't really do that. And now you can, which is kind of cool. It's cool to see it like grow and become and improve, you know. I probably need entity as well, don't I? Well, maybe I don't. Let's not add too many imports up front, you know. If we're not using it, we shouldn't add it. It's as simple as that. Can't find read storage. What? Wait, where would I get read storage from? I didn't think about that. Read storage probably would come from... Well, it's in Pong. I don't have to look very far, I think. Systems... Move balls, was it? There's definitely at least one read storage here. Read storage also comes from ECS Prelude. Okay. So, there you go. That's the answer. That's the answer to all our prayers. Read storage. Oh no, non-exhaustive patterns. Did I seriously do that? I sure did. Okay, yeah, that's bad. Oh boy. Huh, I'm surprised I didn't catch that, but okay. See, that's why I like non-exhaustive patterns. This is why I like pattern matching. It catches it at compile time. It catches when I do stupid things, which I always do. It's like, it's perfect. It's like, it knows I need the training wheels. So, yeah, it's a nice feature. I like that. I know some people are talking about adding anonymous sum types to Rust, and it's an interesting proposal, considering that there's already support for anonymous product types. But yeah, I do have to wonder. I do wonder. Alright, you scroll all the way down. Now I click custom game. Yeah. And I don't remember what that did. It just kind of fired off a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, that's literally all it did. Okay. And then if I do another click. Yeah, see? It works. Very cool. I'm very happy for that. If I click it again, it'll keep doing that. Very nice. Yeah, I still need to clean up the UI and remove the old entities for when we switch between states, obviously. So if you couldn't tell, it's not really a good thing to have buttons overlapping each other like that. But yeah. Or like ghost buttons overlapping on real buttons. It's even worse. Is it worse? I don't know. But yeah, we have a lot of things we have to do next time. So one of them will be figuring out what to do with this, I think. Actually, no, first thing, before we get into this is a whole new can of worms. I don't think this is something we can possibly tackle next time. My plan is we should figure out how to run systems on a per state basis, because that's one of the newer features, and it's definitely something that you'd want to do. Like, you don't want to execute systems every single state, like all your systems all the time. That just seems like a bad idea. So that's one thing we should also look into. The other thing I want to look into is cleaning up entities. Like, how do I destroy the entities from main menu when I switch over to the custom game menu? And yeah, we might not cover both of those next time. Maybe only one of them. My priority will probably be towards executing systems on a per state basis. But you know, I think we have a very solid plan. There's definitely good avenues to go down, and yeah, I'm really excited to continue this project.